How I got on Influx magazine, one of the main online sources I write for. How I got in that, they found me on IMDb message boards, which is funny because those got deleted a couple weeks ago, or about a week or so ago. They don't have those anymore, so it's just funny how that worked out. And then for X Critic, I just approached the writer on Facebook. So I mean, if anything, it's broken down communication barriers. It's made, at least in my experience, for these services. Of course, if you're getting to higher tier levels, you're actually getting paid for stuff. It's easier, or I mean, it's going to be more formal. But for these, it's good gateways, and it's good to develop a lot of connections very, very easily. Normally, what goes on Facebook, what goes on Facebook goes on Twitter too, as far as reviews are concerned. I always feel like I'm flooding people's feeds and everything because I'm so prolific with my writing and whatnot. But I mean, if it's truly important, of course, around this timeline with the Academy Award predictions and such, you'll see it multiple times. It'll be pinned to the top and such. So it's a tricky dance, but it's one I think I've managed by my own wits. Usually, I would say my Facebook and my Twitter, it's about 80% professional, and I would say 20% about who am I with that day or something like that, or where I'm going, you know what I mean, or stuff like that. I've predicated, ever since I started writing reviews years ago, I've predicated myself on having this sort of professionalism that I want, and at least and I don't see it as I don't see it as too dichotomous, really, for me. I don't know if you have the same sort of thing, but I don't see it as being two separate things. I feel like I can be professional while still being personal. And I think that's another balance I think that I've found, at least. It might have took a little bit for people to, not only me to adapt, but for people to catch on. But I think I've done it in a way that's also respectable, and, knowing people can still come and talk to me and whatnot in a very casual sense.
I think that sharing things on social media platforms can go way beyond just your own personal opinions. So personally, I do it to start conversation about things that I find interesting. It's my goal when I do that to try and get people to, comment on my threads or whatever, to try and get other people's opinions on the same topic. And I think it's important that we can be well-rounded and get as many views, many opposing views as possible before we make our own opinion on a given topic. So the reason I share a lot of things on Facebook like that have opinionated pieces is so that I can get feedback from other people about what they think about it.
Facebook is it leads in terms of just getting content out to thousands and hundreds of thousands of people at a time. It's one of my favorite platforms just to share information with people I follow and friends of mine, and so and I've been using Facebook for a long time. Twitter's okay because but Twitter's really you have to kind of already have clout on Twitter to be able to get things to go viral. So whenever I have my work, whenever I put my work into the world, when I release work, I typically first of all I give a release date about, if it's with specifically with music, I'll give I'll say releasing in a month or in a week or in a couple of days. And then I'll give a lead up about before I post something, just about the fact that I am dropping it. And once I do that, then I'll make some sort of catchy phrase. Then I'll put the link to whatever it is, or I'll put attach the video, and then I'll just share it multiple times. I'll tag people in it, have friends of mine share it, and then by the time it's just reaching more and more people who are even outside of my circle. And I make sure I put it on the multiple social media platforms as well. So I'm not just putting it on Facebook. I'll do it on Twitter. I'll do it on Snapchat, and I'll do it on YouTube some of the times. But Facebook is definitely one of the big ones that I use. So.
How much is $1 plus $1 from the Dollar Tree? Well, if it grows from Mother Nature, then I guess it's free. I thank the Lord that I ain't stressing over poverty, but I'm stressing as a brother, that's what bothers me. 4 nickels and 1 penny till I'm a man. Them 4 nickels and penny that made me understand. Sometimes I walk around my city with an empty can. Soon as May hit, I'm in the field like the pusher.